I didn't really come from a family where we would have, you know, like gone to the theatre loads when I was a kid or whatever. So I suppose my very earliest memories of going to the theatre would be like panto with my primary school or something. But then beyond that, I was quite fortunate in that at school, at high school, I had just a really influential couple of drama teachers, really, and a really great drama department at the school that I went to, which is Holyrood in Edinburgh. And so I remember going to the theatre a lot as a teenager, brought by them. We went to, I remember a production of The Tempest at the King's Theatre in Edinburgh. We went to see Liz Lockhead's Perfect Days. I remember that, there was loads. So it was really, there wasn't really a standout memory that I think is influential, but more like that relationship with those teachers was maybe quite fundamental in me discovering theatre. You know, when I was in sixth year, I could probably have been found in my 3 periods, like reading their copies of Beckett plays in the art room, which was like a cupboard full of paint, do you know? So yeah, thanks to those guys for that, I suppose. I am going to say Chris Good's show, The Adventures of Woundman and Shirley, which is a storytelling show that Chris has that is it's just him telling this story of this boy called Shirley and this fantastical relationship that he has with a strange creature character man called Woundman. And it's just the most amazingly beautiful, simple, direct piece of storytelling, but also like so richly intelligent and critical and full of amazing, important things to say about love and queerness, really, and about being different and about us as a society. And so yeah, there's something amazing that Chris Good has, in his ability to sort of greet and meet an audience, to say hello to an audience and be incredibly present with them. That for me is really fundamental about what I find exciting about theatre in the first place, that he manages to articulate with really great ease. And I think he's just one of the most interesting and sort of progressive and experimental theatre minds of his generation, while also being one of the best storytellers of his generation, I think. And what's really exciting about that is how that's in no way a contradiction in terms. You know, that's really what I love about his work. So Woundman by Chris Good. Let's go with that. I suppose for me, it often starts with maybe who I want to work with or what the question is or something. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, because I'm a writer and a theatre maker and I make new work, I'm not a director who would direct classics or an actor who has an ideal role in mind. You know, I'm very rarely thinking of the end result in that way, and more thinking about what the starting point might be. So I suppose at the moment I'm working quite a lot as in quite a conventional playwright role, where I suppose I'm writing plays. I'm writing plays for literary departments or for theatres or for directors, and that's really great. Some of my earlier work over the last few years has maybe been a little more about starting in a room with some collaborators and starting not knowing what the play is going to be, or if even it's going to be a play. So I suppose in terms of what I want to do next, there's maybe a bit of me that's at the moment in which you find me now, speaking to you today, maybe keen for a process that looks and feels a little bit like that again sometime in the not too distant future. Some really interesting people in a room and seeing what the conversation is and seeing what the work emerges out of that meeting point. Kind of like to work like that again soon. Yeah. I'm going to go with 200% and Bloody Thirsty by Forced Entertainment. I work mostly as a playwright now, but like when I was like in my early 20s, like I kind of cut my teeth, if you like, as a theatre practitioner, making sort of devised collaborative work with my peers, really, here at Glasgow, actually. Some of it was of questionable quality, but some of it was kind of exciting and great. But it was a really fundamental time where I learned about the importance of collaboration, and I learned about, and I really learned about making theatre in a getting your hands dirty kind of way. And we had our, I guess, like a group of people who were making theatre because they couldn't play any instruments but wanted to be in a band, you know. And so obviously, you like so many theatre students of that age, you know, like forced entertainment were a hugely important sort of touchstones, you know. I don't even particularly like a lot of their recent work, if I'm being entirely honest, but there was a time in my life and on my journey as a theatre maker where they were incredibly important. And I remember watching VHS videos of a lot of their work in the 80s and 90s and just like trying to get my head into it and being kind of having my mind sort of blown by it, you know? And there was something about that show, 200% and Bloody Thirsty, with the angels on the screens and the understated way in which they spoke this sort of little fragmented poetic text about the humans down below and the anarchy of what was going on stage where, yeah, there was just something really, it's fundamentally different, isn't it, watching a document of a piece of theatre than seeing one live. So I'd like to indulge my sort of 21-year-old self by seeing that show at that time and seeing that theatre company at that time, I think. Yeah.